It's time for the easy part, the tiling. Because we did a decent job prepping, the tile honestly is just trowel and stick it. First thing we're going to do is key in our thinset and then trowel out using 1/4-inch trowel. This first tile, we ended up mitering that first piece and then we just simply bent it into the wall in order to achieve that rounded effect that we're going for in an entire install. We're going to be using 2 lasers. We're going to use one that's going horizontal to make sure that our grout line is consistent all the way across. And then we're also using another laser vertical to make sure that our layout is actually perfectly plumb. And this way I can continue my layout all the way around without having any issues with my grout lines. We are spacing these about 1/16 of an inch in between each other and then just kind of continuing this around. Because we prepped well, it's literally that easy. You just trowel out and stick it. In this type of layout, you can only attempt with a good quality tile like this Florida tile that's porcelain, because porcelain is way more consistent. But one of the main reasons why we chose this tile was for this, to make these rounded corners. You want to make sure that you have a mosaic that is fine enough to be able to make this turn, but also long enough for us in order to kind of achieve the look we were looking for. But while at the same time this looks extremely beautiful and we were so happy how it was turning out, we knew from the get-go that we were going to run into one major issue on this install, and it's something we couldn't avoid. And you're about to see that issue play out. The first thing we want to make sure though is that we have all the right spacing, is that before we make our second turn that our install is perfectly plumb. I'm going to continue my install, and oddly enough to some people, I'm just going to continue it all the way across the fire chamber of our fireplace. To me, it made the best sense in terms of continuing my grout lines from the bottom and to the top, and also to continue the mosaic piece itself as sturdy as possible. The moment you start cutting these, they do become kind of separated, so you don't want to do that. So for us, we continued that all the way across, then we're going to grout it, and then we're just going to simply cut out. But here's where my issue comes in. You see how these two separate? I want to make sure that my grout lines continue on this side, but then as they get to the other side of the fireplace, that they also match up, which creates a major issue for me because those two distances are not the same. So to match up those grout lines is going to be extremely hard. So what I did is I decided to work at it from both sides to make sure that my grout lines work out, and then I just filled in the middle. I did have to shift around some of these tiles in order to make the last one fit. Some of them are touching it, but once it's all grouted, it's all going to blend in. Plus, that's where our TV is going to go anyway. So we definitely got a little lucky there. So for us, all that's left to do is grout, do our tile inlay for our hearth, and then our mantle. So follow if you want to see those pieces as well and see how this all turns out at the end. I love it.